Commissioner Murshid. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah. Salama. Karibuni sana. Sheikh, Article 37 of the Constitution, something that everybody talks about,
yes,
right? Clearly gives rights to picket, demonstrate, and to assemble and to present petitions to public authorities. First, what is your take on the recent picketing that we have witnessed as a country in the recent past?
You see, it is a right enshrined in the Constitution, and it's immediately before or after political rights. And it gives rights to every citizen and every person to demonstrate, to picket, to petition public authorities on any right or legal right which they want to, or freedom which they want to put forward. But it's not a blank check to do the things that we are used to seeing, because it has a caveat that this right to demonstrate, to picket, to present petition must be done peaceably and in a manner that people are not armed. So if we see what has been going on, we see people are claiming that we have this right and we want to enforce it. On the other hand, there are certain obligations which are given under that act. The idea of being unarmed and the idea of being peaceable. And the history with which we grew up with, we know that demonstrations are neither unarmed nor are they peaceable. And there is this conversation that goes on. In fact, it is the police who provoke it, which is doesn't sit very well. Because I don't see policemen going out to provoke demonstrators who are unarmed and who are peaceful. Let me give you an example. We had a demonstration in Mombasa several months ago. It was about opposing the gay movement, the LGBTQ, and some of the publications which came out for school children. Literally the whole town came out. And from different parts of the streets, clergymen converged with so many people, Kenyans of all walks of life. And the procession was for several kilometers. The streets were filled. And it went up to the provincial headquarters, that is Uhuru Nikazi.
Giving it dynamic.
It was peaceable, and it was without being unarmed. Nobody lost any property. Nothing was looted. And I think what was envisaged was demonstrations of that nature, not the one which are politically charged the way we have.
Exactly what I'm telling you. So giving it the context and the dynamic, yours was more of a social issue, but again, what we've witnessed in the recent past were more political. What is the backstop? Again, I'm just going to ask you the question, where does the backstop? For the demonstration to be peaceful. He said that what we saw was clearly a war between the protesters and the police. So my question is, where does the backstop?
You see, this is the feeling of every Kenyan. That when we have demonstrations, we are expecting trouble. We're expecting shops to be looted. We're expecting lives to be lost. Injury. And the biggest damage is on the image of the country and the economic aspect of it. Now, if you look at Article 37 in isolation, the Bill of Rights has got about 27 rights and freedoms, starting from, if I'm not mistaken, 26, which is right to life. Now, right to life is not to get injured, not to get killed. Don't think about the demonstrators, don't even think about the police. Think about the other Kenyans who are really not demonstrating, who are not for or against anyone. Right to life also means the right to get a livelihood, to go to work, to take your children to school, to earn a living, not to have your property ransacked. So the basic and number one right where all the rights emanate from is the right to life. If you look at the article which talks about demonstrations, it comes 10 or 11 rights after that one. And if you read the Constitution, you must read it from the aspect of interpreting it well, that one has not been placed before the other arbitrarily. There was a reason why. It means they were more prominent, more eminent. And therefore, if you look at the right to demonstrate, vis-a-vis the right, like right to life, right to human dignity.
No.
Right to security is part of right. Right for you to go and earn a livelihood, that is a right. Children's rights are rights. So you have to contextualize the issue of the right to demonstrate in terms of the other rights. And the thing is, you cannot have enjoyment of one right infringing on the other rights. So in this regard,
yes,
I think we need to put Article 37 in its proper context. Not only that, sorry. These rights have limitations. There is no right which is absolute,
yes.
Same for 3-4 rights, which cannot be limited. Rights can be limited so long as it is done in a democratic state, having in mind certain aspects that we are a free country and it gives rights to the enjoyment of all other rights. And that limitation of that right, apart from the idea it should be done peaceably, is found in the Public Order Act.
That's what I wanted to come at. Public Order Act number 22 of 2012, correct?
Yes.
And it's, as you said earlier, we cannot look at the Article 37 in isolation, right? There is Operationalization Act of Parliament, the Public Order Act number 22 of 2012, which was assented on the 27th of August, the year 2012, right? And it has clearly stated, or rather gave directions on how demonstration and picketing should be conducted. However, the Act itself limits the demonstration and the whole activity to presentation of petition. So, does this mean then every time you're holding an election, every time you're holding a demonstration or you're picketing, you must have some sort of petition, or you can just go out and demonstrate to have your voices heard in different ways?
What I believe is you are not doing something in vain. You don't want to have the media covering an event without having what is the end game. There is usually a petition which you want to present to a public authority for certain amendments to be made, which is the source of the grievances which you are grieving for. So you are correct in saying that that would lead, not always necessarily so, but to the presentation of a petition. These are our demands, and this is what we want. I can still recall the demonstrations we had in Mombasa, where there was a proper petition which was placed before the provincial authority, who was the representative of the president. And there was action pursuant to that one, because soon after that the president made his position known about the issues of the LGBTQ. So there is. And you see, you don't do it in such a manner as to give the idea it's blackmail or you're putting the government under siege. Otherwise, if we start shooting ourselves on the foot, we are not going anywhere as a country. So there is that Public Order Act. There are certain requirements that are to be met. 3 days minimum before your
3 to 14 days notice to the police office.
And if you don't do that, like it has happened, then it becomes an unlawful assembly. When it becomes an unlawful assembly, it is bound to be broken up. If it is broken up, then you see that violence ensues. But again, it is the result of a breach of the law. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the right to picket, to demonstrate, to assemble has got certain limitations, and it has certain obligations which go with it.
That have to be met even before the whole process. Commissioner, we saw heavy use of live bullets during the recent protest. Are they going to go on? We don't know. We are yet to hear. But we saw heavy use of police bullets, loss of lives, loss of property, and there is a push and pull. Some people claiming that, some protesters claiming that police are the one who use live bullets. People from the government side saying that these are not our bullets. We're going to do a ballistic report, and you're going to see these guns that were used belong to some people in some houses in a particular area. hypothetically speaking, if at all this was used by the police officers as claimed and as presented by the protesters, were they justified to use live bullets in such
Okay, that's a very interesting question, and it goes beyond even the demonstrations.
Yeah.
Can the police use live ammunition to quell any kind of disorder? The rule which is there, the law that is subsisting, is that the police have to use commensurate force in order to overcome unrest.
Commensurate force.
Commensurate force, or the commission of an offense, or stopping the commission of an offense. Now, what does that mean? It remains on the judgment of the policeman on the ground. That's why the constable becomes the most important person in terms of training, because you are leaving it to his discretion. It's not like the army, where you have the commander somewhere telling now march forward or shoot or don't do this or don't do that. Now, the policemen and policewomen are not opposed. There is nothing to stop them from using ammunition if the situation demands the use of that ammunition.
Okay.
The query would be, did the situation compel the use of firearm? And even when you use it, you cannot use it indiscriminately. Use it with a lot of caution, with a lot of reserve. And if you are to do that, yet again, how would you say that they used enough caution? They made sure they were not negligent. It becomes a matter of inquiry. Usually after the event, then there will be an inquiry, and then there will be justifications, there will be evidence taking. So let us not let us disabuse ourselves from the idea that the police cannot use live ammunition. They can, as and when the situation warrants it. Now, I'm not a police officer, though I've worked with them.
But you're a former national, you're a commissioner in the
I've
NPC.
had police officers telling you are confronted in a situation like I was. And according to me, there was imminent danger to life, leave alone property, to life. And if you damage property in a massive way, which goes against the public good and causes insecurity, what if somebody wanted to light up a gas station, a petrol station? It will cause a lot of havoc. If you are to stop that person from doing it, how can you do it? So there are a lot of scenarios where, as commissioners, we were put through, and we really started understanding and appreciating the policeman thinking on his feet in an emerging situation. It's not as easy as many people put it to be, that they should have done it this way, they should have done it that way. It depends on matters unfolding at split seconds and taking action. So even when you are trying to quell riots, because sometimes we call it a demonstration.
Yes.
But when you look at its definition, it's a riot. If you look at riots and you have police officers being overwhelmed, and there is massive insecurity that is caused by it, there is likely to be loss of property and loss of lives, then what do you expect the police officer to do?
Wow, that's a very elaborate answer.
It depends on the person who is proposing it. It's good things are going to court. Evidence will be brought in. Passions will be set aside. Evidence will come to the fore. Ballistic investigations would have been conducted. Are these bullets from police officers? Are they not? Probably they are. So I would rather have it investigated and tried in court, where the appropriate balance would be kept as to what was excessive and on whose side. But I think condemnation of the police service to call them rogue police officers is wrong. And it cannot go unchallenged, because there could be elements within the police service who are rogue. But by and large, our police are doing a commendable job. In fact, when our police are taken internationally for duties, they usually carry the top honors. Can you imagine if our police officers were not around, what would happen even during demonstrations? The kind of fear you have in your heart. I don't know at what time things will run out and overrun everything. You always have this fear even as you watch TV. Business people, school children going from school or to school. You are going to work from work. You are going on with your car. A lorry is transporting goods. It's looted. It's burnt. So many police vehicles are lost. So many police stations have been burnt down. It's like we are at war with ourselves. What I'm saying is we do have proper training in the service. Mm-hmm. We do have a lot of effort in modernizing the service. From the way the police officers were wired from colonial times, because it is a colonial relic, there has been this culture of colonization and colonial mentality.
Of police being a force.
Yes, but for so many years, the police service is grappling with it. And it's not, you know, police officers 10 years ago and today.
Also police officers.
But let me finish.
Police officers.
We also have rogue politicians, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah?
Of course, yes.
We have rogue parents. We have rogue teachers. We have rogue administrators. This idea of rogueness is everywhere. And the few who practice it usually rub off the most. What I was only trying to say is that
Faisal is apparent, he may be a rock, but unarmed.
But what
These people, this person that we are talking a rock, he's someone who's armed.
Using excessive power.
Yes, using excessive power. But if you said, yes, let's say like Faisal is apparent, he's a rock in a manner, maybe in suggesting a certain situation, but he's unarmed.
But the moment,
he's an innocent citizen.
The moment we start using words like a rogue police service, that doesn't augur very well for the entire service. You know, we have traffic police officers. They are not, you can't say that they do these things. You have so many other functionaries within the police service. And we must agree that without safety and security, all the other rights, are thrown out of the window. These are men and women who work under very strenuous circumstances. And you can imagine if you have three days of very high octane demonstrations, they don't sleep. And police officers, they work at a ratio of 1 to 250 or so. So it's their authority and their presence which keep people at bay. But if we cancel them off and say that these people are sort of kind of rogue and useless, it's only that one. Otherwise, I get your sentiment that police ought not to use excessive force. I'm in agreement with that one. But again, it is all about the circumstances which we find ourselves in, and it's good that things are going to court, that evidence will be brought in.
And we're going to look
and we're going to get to the bottom of it here. You see, I confined myself mostly on this Article 37 because it has been thrown around very loosely. Article 37 has got an inbuilt limitation. It is further limited by the Katiba itself, where we say that most of these rights in the Bill of Rights are not, they can be limited by law.
They're not absolute.
Yes. This right to demonstrate is given, it's a good safety valve, but it cannot be the source of danger like it has been. There are certain procedures that must be followed. There is an act in place Kenya is a constitutional democracy. We are governed by laws. We are not a banana republic.
Yeah.
So we cannot disregard laws under the heat of politics. And if we go this route, we are losing out to Dar es Salaam. We are losing out to other East African nations. They cannot lift a finger against us because we are miles and miles ahead of our East African neighbors. So we shouldn't be the people who are going to fry our own goose. We should be level-headed. The people who are involved in these issues are all statesmen. They've been in politics for their entire lives. They have legacies to safeguard. I think we should be very calm, like that World Cup song, Baby Calm, something like that one. I think we should
hold our
step
horses
back. We are not going to reduce prices by shutting down the economy, by causing insecurity, by chasing away investors, both local and international. If indeed he has given his opinion as to why it's being done, but if indeed it's about lowering food prices, it's very difficult to imagine that this is the way we can lower these food prices. The president is executing his manifesto. It's all about the economy. The economy of the whole world is going down the drain. We are no different. Adverse climatic conditions, skyrocketing food prices because of other reasons outside the country. So if you look at the KK plan, it's in tandem with the finance bill, because we cannot say that we want to have so many things and we have no way of financing it. Yes, there could have been certain things which could have been a bit easy on, and maybe if the opposition worked together with the others in parliament to tone down on the excesses, we could have had a better outcome. But we could see that there were people who walked away. And you see, we are the creators of our own problem. I think it's time the country comes together and we close ranks and we become more sane and more stable and look after what the economy demands. We are in a mess like every other country is in a mess. We are no special as Kenyans.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel we are a special category. We are not. We are facing difficulties, and the best way to face these difficulties is to behave in a more matured manner.
Yeah.
Yes.